How is the LA market today?
LA market is crazy. So how do you describe it would be this put for example, I have multiple client different price range. For somebody that was offering at 900,000, now property get it up to 1.3 million. So $400,000 difference and 300,000 difference and multiple offers in another property. So it's really tough where you want to right now. If you have buyers and that are your clients, it's very very tough to get them into a home because there's only limited amount of homes, and then there's so many people who want to buy, so many people could afford it. So
So is it still a fun job?
it's struggling. I mean, but then when you get a result. When let's say I just put Brian into a post on Instagram. Let's say when I put Brian into a home, they felt so much more appreciative, and then they were just very very grateful for what I have done for them. So it is a fun job overall. I mean, that's you have to enjoy the grind, right? Like enjoying the downtime too. So that's normally how it goes. But if you go through the down, for me, if you go through the tough times, then when the easier time comes, then you'll be even better for your business.
Will it ever be easier then in LA?
Maybe. No, actually, with real estate, I think it's every time when you help a different client, it's very very different because they have different expectation, and then they have different wants and needs, and sometimes when their dream of getting too big, you had to ground them, set them back and say, hey, don't overspend yourself. For example, I have one friend right now I'm helping to purchase. His budget is about 500,000 for 2 unit property, and he's looking at 530, 540 now, or a
Oh,
single family for 70 that he could afford. He's now looking at 490, and it gets to the point where it's like kind of stretching his budget because you don't want to be a house poor. So you don't ever want to be able to just say, hey, I live in a house and I can't go anywhere because you don't have the money. All your money that's coming in, that's going to the home. So you have to a lot of time you have to set expectation right. And also set them the ground and pull them back when they start dreaming too big and say, hey, this is really what you want? Because it's not idealistic, because eventually you can get to what, your dream homes. But when you're starting off, you got to set your budget and make sure you're grounded to what is actually what you wanted
so you're
in the
not
beginning.
only their realtor, but you're also like in a way their conscience.
Trust me, it's also their therapist, it's their family consultant, couple therapy all the time. I have one time I had to literally my friend sat down. They would start arguing because they're looking at home, and then they would start arguing, and the girl ran out, and she was sitting on a curb crying. So I was like, I'll be right back. I mean, I don't want to say my friend's name. So I put him in the house, and I came outside and talked to the fiance, and then she was just crying, and she was like, "Oh, this happens all the time, blah 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 blah." But eventually, my job is to, have them to come to a consensus and of knowing that they're on the same boat to try to get what they want. So or even sometime where I'll have to clean up after homeowners, staging their property. A lot of times it's just little things. It literally are like their mom and parents or therapists for when you're helping clients. Yeah.
Doesn't that drain you? You're still so young.
No, no, it doesn't. I think it actually make you put you in a perspective where you actually get to experience life in other people's shoes, where you get to experience how couples are or how people's behavior is, and you realize this is what you want and this is what you don't want, and you actually being able to, because you're first hand experiencing it. So I think it doesn't drain me. It actually make me be more diverse in a way. I understand more spectrum of how life is overall. You know.
So let's talk a little bit about life,
Okay.
because you were born in Taiwan, and
you
now
know.
you're in LA in a very, very tough market. What's the toughest but most valuable life lesson you've ever experienced so far?
The valuable life lessons. I think one thing that it's always back in my mind that was is different from what people have non-millennial has was I grew up not. I mean, my family were decently well off. I would say we don't struggle for money now. We everybody have their own business and we're doing something. But when we were growing up, we had a very very difficult time. Mom had to borrow money. We see her, and she had to go borrow money to put up food on our table and we always seen that, and she had to go out and work, and we knew that we were. I mean, she would tell us, like, hey, we can buy this because we're in debt and, we owe people money and things like that. Yeah, I think that was probably one of the biggest life lesson because, it humble you knowing that you guys had to struggle. Like, if you don't have money, you will struggle. And also, you had to work for what you get, because seeing my father had to, work so hard being away working for his family and also not being around his family for 20 some years. He's barely retiring now. So imagine I'm 27, almost 28. It's been like that my whole life. So it humbles you a lot.
Yeah. Because now you seem to be doing really well, but we've just all recovered in a way, or a lot of people from the financial crisis. And the real estate market can be affected so harshly when things go wrong. What would you advise people who want to buy property or invest in property nowadays?
Invest in property. What's my advice? I think my advice is first to see if actually that's something that you want. I mean, home ownership is not for everybody, right? Some right now, even for millennials, some of them want to just rent houses and just be free, of outcome, like not having to be tied up to a home. A lot of millennials also invest in homes too, more and more, because they starting realizing that this is the vehicle to wealth. My advice would be enjoy your life while you can, and also work as hard as you can. But also you gotta save money. Like, you talk to a financial advisor how do you save money and pay down loans. And there's always a way to save money. Like, stop drinking Starbucks. I used to spend $4,000 to $5,000 a year on Starbucks, and
a year. Wow.
A year, 4,000 to 5,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah. Food, coffee. I mean, there's so much other stuff that's there, so you can always just like grab this, and it add up to be $20. So it eventually all add up and put a dent. Imagine you just have another 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 laying around your bank, and all you need to do is not to drink Starbucks for 4 or 5 years. Now you have down payment for a house. In U.S., our down payment could be lowest at 3.5% of a purchase price, and $30,000, $40,000 will easily make up to be the down payment. So it really depends on I think it's also too like. As far as life, like because of media and things that's going on, Instagram, people want to be, people are not conscious about saving. They want to have nice car, have nice watches. They want to have spend nice meal and or go to this restaurant so they can put on Instagram and all that stuff, or spend this money they can put on Instagram and show off in a way, showing how great their life is and make them feel better. However, these things also come with cost, and that's probably one of the most problem right now in our society, where it's like, okay, it's all about the pictures, how do I look, how I'm going to travel here so I can take some pictures and showing that I'm living the life, things like that.
Yeah, and a lot of people obviously embrace the fake it till you make it philosophy.
Oh yeah, I mean it's big time. Like, how many entrepreneurs is out there right now that call them entrepreneurs? I mean,
Yes.
they just decided to, they just started to start a Facebook page and saying that, oh, I'm doing this business, and then now I'm an entrepreneur. Like, it has no meaning anymore, because people decided, just throw that words around and say, because it's cool. So that's the trend, but what can you say, right?
Good
So,
advice. Good advice. So I wanted to
mhm.
talk a little bit about when people follow you on Instagram or have read perhaps your interview that we did.
Yeah.
You seem to have such high morals and standard, though on the other hand, you're in a, well, cutthroat business. How does that
Oh, yeah,
work
of
out?
course. I think, okay, so I think in real estate it's very, very cutthroat, where it's like I have seen people get screwed over. How it works, our commission is the sellers always pay for the commission. Okay, the home seller always pay for commission on both sides of buying and selling. And sometimes when the buyers have an agent who knows that they're a first time buyer and doesn't know anything, so they say, oh, you have to pay me commission too, to the buyers. And it's not a lot of times, and then people ask me that question. That's one of the most common things that happens. Like, oh, you had to give me this amount much, or somebody came up one to me and said, oh, how much do I pay you, Robert? And it's like, you don't pay me. It's the sellers pay me. But last time when they purchased, I mean, the agent charged them for the money. So, the agent double-handed. I think it's about moral, right? Like, eventually, if you lie will screw people over, it will get caught up. People will know eventually, whether it's down 2 and 3 years on the line. And I would rather not to have that back behind my hand, behind my name, and people know that, okay, I can keep doing business with Robert. So it's definitely a longevity type of things. It's not something that, I'm just gonna make a couple, $10,000-$20,000 more, and I'll just do it for 6 months. That doesn't cut it for me.
Have you
Yeah.
ever felt you are in the wrong business?
All the time, yeah. I constantly think, especially recent years, I feel like, I'm sometimes getting less motivated in a way. And I started realizing why I feel that way um, was because things taking too long, and I started realizing that I want that instant gratification, which just means I want something in return when I do something already. But I started also realizing that everything takes patience and time. And for example, one of my projects, it took me literally, we're almost finished it, and almost 3 years, and now I have a buyer who's a neighbor down the slope. He want to purchase the project, but that project took me 3 years, and all those times were time and money, So yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm in the wrong business because I'm I always go and I want my result, but start grounding myself, and you know what, that's just how it is, and everything is just fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically your advice in this business as well as in life is you need to be patient, right? Because if you say saving up for 5 years of Starbucks, I don't know a lot of young people who are that patient.
Well, that's the thing. Like, patient is such a normal thing that everybody just throw their words around, like, and just like, hey, you need to be patient. You need to be, but when you actually do it, you don't realize the return of that, right? And then you will only get that return when you actually see the result. And sometimes people don't, they give it up halfway and they don't get a result that way. And for my instance, I had to jump through so many hoops. I could have easily just say, you know what, I'm running into this difficulty. I don't have patience for it anymore. I just sell the project and cut my losses. But the fact is, I knew that, I believed in myself and also the project, and I knew that there's always a way to figure it out. And just go one step at a time and just be patient. And, everything will always work out how it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect, right?
Practice makes perfect. Yeah.